And today is samesies days because we are wearing the same shirts, just different colored badges. So y'all can tell us apart because I know we look
Yeah, we're
almost the
identical
same.
twins, pretty
Yeah,
much.
pretty
Yeah.
much. It's like the movie Twins
Oh yeah,
with
yeah,
Arnold
yeah.
Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
Yeah, I'm Arnold. You're Danny.
Yeah, exactly. A spitting image. No, so we did not plan to wear the same shirt, so we'll just get that out there. Okay, so getting into the meat and potatoes of this video, I started carb cycling last year towards the end of the year, the last like 2-3 months of the year, and it was going really well for me, and I was really enjoying the progress, and I was trying to carb cycle my way up to a morning weight of 235. Oh, I felt out of breath for some reason, and just all the food today. But anyway, so I was trying to carb cycle my way up to 235. I was on a bulk to the end of the year, and then I was really enjoying the way I was going, the progress. But what ended up happening was in November on Thanksgiving, just after Thanksgiving, I got sick with the flu. My whole family did. I got over the flu, and then I got really bad allergies, which turned into a respiratory infection, which hit me pretty much the rest of the year. So the last 6 weeks of the year, I didn't train and I didn't diet. I was just trying to get over what I was having with health issues. Now, I still watched what I ate and maintained my calories and maintained what I was eating. And like, I wasn't dieting, but like, I was still very cautious of the amount of food I was eating so I didn't gain weight. So I stayed around 232, 234. I really fluctuated around there perfectly. So whenever January hit and I got back on my diet, I was pretty much where I wanted to be at the end of my bulk, just not how I wanted to get there pretty much and everything. So I started the year back up, carb cycling, and I'll get into that in a minute because I know it's been a while since we've been anywhere on this channel and stuff like that. It's been a couple months, so you want
Yeah.
to kind of touch on what happened with you?
So not exactly the same, but sort of the same. Around the time that he ended up with the flu, since we all work out together, I ended up with the flu. So that was a fun experience. And then from there, I think we tried getting back in the gym like a little bit, for like maybe a day or two, but it just didn't work out really all that well. And you started feeling not like that great again.
Yeah.
I ended up with a bit of another issue that limited my movement for a little bit. So yeah, like the last part of the year for both of us is kind of derailed quite a bit. You maintained a lot better than I did though. Like I just went went full old school mode for myself for a little bit.
Right off the rails.
Yep. So yeah, I kind of shot back up to around 270.
And what? So how much weight was that?
About 30 pounds.
Oh, so 30 pounds in 6 weeks. That's average, right? That's average.
Oh yeah. Again, like I think it
So
was
damn Jack in the Box egg rolls is what it is.
They are delicious. It's something with that fry oil, you know. Like you use the same oil for frying everything. It adds flavor.
Yeah, tastes a little bit like everything. Like there's a episode of South Park where he hears about ass burgers, so he thinks it's ass burgers. So what he does is he cooks a bunch of hamburgers and he puts them in his pants, and he goes to school and he goes to the nurse. Oh, I can't be here. I have Asperger's. And she's like, "What is this? You know, what is this?" So she gets all upset, and then one of the other kids finds out about it. Kyle, and he's just like, "Oh man, you got burgers? I want a burger." And he tries it. He's like, "Oh my god, this is like the best burger I've ever had. This is amazing. How did you make this?" And he's just like, "Oh," and then he gets all the other kids to try it, and then he ends up opening like a Cartman's burger stand and selling burgers to everybody. He has like a secret recipe that no one's allowed to know what it is. Then all the big fast food chains get together and they're all like, you know, like, what is this Cartman burger? It's so weird because it's like a little bit of all of us together. You know, it tastes like KFC and Taco Bell. And starts naming all the major fast foods, and they're trying to figure out how to come together to stop him. Mm-hmm. And then they end up finding out it just he's making burgers and he's just like ripping on them all day because he eats a little bit of all of it. It tastes like a little bit of all of it. So it's like the fry oil. You cook everything in the fry oil, then eventually it takes on the flavor of everything. That's great unless it's fish, because then that's not a fun flavor for a lot of foods and stuff.
So anyway, like yeah, like I didn't control myself all that well, but again, I put a lot of that fault on myself too, from doing what we try to consistently say we shouldn't do, and I brought my calories down way too low, just trying to force myself to lose weight. And in doing that, by just me upping a little bit, I started putting back on. And then that's like, well, crap, like that's kind of depressing. So just kept on going from there.
Yeah, because you were wanting to see the weight loss come off faster than what it did. So you dropped your calories, like you tanked them hard
Yeah.
for a while, and then you let your metabolism kind of like slow down to that amount of calories to where you actually leveled out, and you even stopped losing weight, eating very little calories. And you know as well as I do, the second you start eating a little bit over, and then you stop all the activities you're doing, the weight just comes on really quick. It's not hard to do, man. A lot of people are like, man, how do these people gain their weight back so fast? It's like, well, they went from eating 5,000 calories a day to 1,000 calories a day, and then being super active and moving around to not moving around, then back to eating like that. And then they didn't even realize how much they're eating because it's like, oh, I'll just eat till I'm full. And then you eat till you're full, then you're like, well, let me just finish this because it's here and I don't want to waste it. So you finish it. And then the next time you eat, you can do it a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Next thing you know, your stomach stretched back out. You're full bloat mode, you know, like perfect powerlifting situation, you know, your conditions and everything, but terrible for weight management and weight loss and everything.
Yeah.
So, anything else?
It's just one of those things like me, like I've had to come to terms, I guess, with not allowing myself to fall into that sort of like area where like if the food is there, I have to finich it. Like a lot of people say, I guess it's like a generational thing or whatever. Like growing up, like it was like a finish your plate kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of stuck with me, I guess.
So it's funny you should say that because what I actually did whenever I was not working out is I'd be like, okay, what would be the normal size portion that I would normally make? Okay, this is the size portion. Okay, let me cut that in half. Then I would cut that in half, and then I eat, and then I wait 20 minutes, even if I was still hungry. Even if I was like, man, I want to eat more. I want to eat. I'm still hungry. I'd wait 20 minutes, let my food kind of hit me, and then if I was still a little hungry, I might have like something for like a dessert, maybe like a little bowl of ice cream, or maybe like a Snickers like ice cream bar, something small, nothing big, like under like 200 calories or whatever, and that would normally just kill the rest of it, and I'd be good the rest of the evening. And the whole clear your plate, that's the way I was raised too. Like if it's on your plate, you got to eat it, and I don't do that with my kids. You know, I got 3 kids, and I've never told them you gotta finish your plate, you got it, because I don't want them to be in the mindset of gluttony. I mean, it's the stupidest concept. Like I understand, like, don't waste your food. Food costs money. Not everyone gets the privilege of being able to eat food like this in the world. You know, there's a lot of starving people out there. So don't be rude and not eat your food, basically, and don't waste my money. You know, mainly it comes down to don't waste my money is what it really generally boils down to. But the whole concept is you're teaching the kids to like, hey, even if you're full, just keep eating and keep eating all of it. Even if you don't want to, just keep going for it until there's nothing left on your plate. And then you get in a situation where you do over order, and then you have that mindset of like, oh, I got to eat it all because it's here and I can't waste it. It's like, no, you can always eat it later. You can come back and eat it again later. So my kids, man, they'll, oh, Dad, I'm hungry. What do you want? Oh, I want chicken nuggets. Like, all right, cool. How many do you want? I want 8 chicken nuggets. You're not going to eat 8 chicken nuggets. I want 8 chicken nuggets. Okay, I'll make you 8 chicken nuggets. I make them 8 chicken nuggets. They eat 2. And it's just like, hey, man, you still got 6 here. And it's like, oh, well, I wasn't that hungry after all. I'm like, all right, well, they're here when you want them. Okay. And I don't ever get mad at them. I let it. Now, when they come back up to me and they're like, Dad, I'm hungry in like an hour. And they're like, can I have a chicken sandwich? Or can I have eggs? Or can I have cereal? Or can I have a sandwich? Or something else? They're like, nah, dude, you got some chicken nuggies. You got some dino nuggies, bro. At that, you ain't gonna wait. You're hungry. Oh yeah, I forgot. And they'll go and finish eating, or they'll eat one or 2 more, and then they'll be on their way. And that's pretty much how like we eat. We have to schedule our food. Like, oh, I got to eat every 3 hours to do my diet, and they just naturally want to eat every 2 to 3 hours because they eat so little. Then they want to eat a little bit more, then a little bit more. So they eat just enough to maintain. And my kids are in great shape. They've never had a problem with their weight ever. They've always been in their perfect range and their healthy weights. They're, you know, from my daughter who's about to be 16 to my youngest of 6. So you look at them and the way they naturally eat. Now, I'm not saying all kids are like that. Some kids don't know how to self-regulate and they'll just keep going, and other kids won't eat enough. But I've been very fortunate where like I've never had to force my kids to eat or to not eat. They just kind of like leveled out. But I was one of those kids too, that like I'd be full, I'd be done. And then my parents were just like, finish the plate. And it's just like, okay. And then it's like, why am I getting so fat? And then soda. That's another thing too. we had soda galore, soda galore, soda galore. You know, I don't let my kids drink soda. Not that they can't have one every now and then, but just like kids don't need that much sugar. They don't need that much caffeine. So I just don't think that at an early age, like when you have all the energy in the world at your fingertips, you don't need sugar and caffeine to give you what you already have naturally. It just develops bad palate habits where you seek sweeter and sweeter and sweeter foods. It's like just eat the normal natural foods, and then the sweet stuff, you know, like when you get older, if you want a little something, go for it. But at that time, you should be old enough, because like me, I was never big on sweets, but we had a lot of soda, which I don't drink soda hardly anymore anyways. But like, it's one of those things. I've never been big into sweets, and it's never been a weakness of mine and stuff. So kind of lost where I was going with that. But anyways, getting back to the script. Okay, so what we're doing now, was there anything you want to finish with that about talking about like clear your plate and stuff?
No, it's just like I said. That's kind of what led to my issue that I ended up having towards the end of the year with my food and like the weight gain that I did. So trying to keep myself from doing that is definitely going to be helpful later on. It's something I have to work and focus on, of knowing like it's all right. Like it's already paid for. So whether I eat it all or not, like they're not going to charge me less.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a way to look at it. It's like, you know, it's not like I'm losing out or gaining anything from finishing it or not. The only thing I'm going to gain is weight if I keep eating at this point and stuff. And actually, I was talking this weekend to a friend of mine, and excuse me, I just got done eating, so I'm really like a lot of carbs today. A lot of carbs. Way too many carbs. So, but anyway, so I was talking to a friend, and I was telling him, I believe you were over for it when I was saying this. It's like, I might have mentioned it to you. If not in front of him, we talked about it. But it's like, he shares, when he goes out to dinner, him and his wife, they order an entree, and they share the entree. They never order their own entrees. They always share an entree. And it's like, well, it's kind of smart to do that, because me and my wife started doing that too. But it's kind of like, you think about it, like back then, like a normal entree would have like 400 calories, 500 back in the 70s. Now entrees have like 1,700 calories for one meal. And then it's like, oh, we got to get an appetizer. Oh, and we got to get a dessert. Oh, and we got to get some type of sugary beverage with it. By the time you're done with this one meal, you're almost 2,500, 3,000 calories deep for one person. It's like you could split that. More. Yeah, you could split that between 3 people, those amount of calories with those 3 items that you ate by yourself. So it's kind of like, yeah, splitting your food with someone, not only is it cheaper, but you're not going to starve to death from splitting it. You may not be able to gorge like you wanted to, but it'll definitely help control the amount you're eating when you go out, you know. If you don't have a partner, get a dog. You don't have a dog, become friends with the trash can. So it's like, you're hungry, Mr. Trash Can? You can have half. Num, num, num. Okay, so let's get to it. So okay, I'm carb cycling now. I picked up where I left off last year before I got sick, and what I'm currently doing is I have 1 high day, I have 2 medium days, I have 4 low days. So my low days are 125 carbohydrates in the form of white rice. On my medium days, I get 300 carbohydrates in the form of rice. And then on my high carb day, I get 350 carbs from... Is it 350? I think it's more than that. No, yeah, it's 350. It's 350 carbs from rice. I get 230 from cranberry juice. And then the rest is a gamble. I try to get about 600 to 700 on Sundays, which is my high day, which is today. It's Sunday. So today I'm sitting right at 600 carbohydrates for the day, and I got about another roughly 100 carbs to go before I'm done with the day. Now, what I do is on my high carb days, I bring my protein down to 2 pounds of meat per day. So, well, I'm not high day, but medium. So like on, let's say Monday is a low day. So Monday is 125 carbs, and I'll eat 2 pounds of meat throughout the day, 8 ounces of fish. And then on Tuesday will be a medium day, so it's 300 carbs, and then it's, did I say 2 pounds of meat? I'm messing myself up here. Hold on, I got so many numbers, I can't remember. Let me restart. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. I'm trying to remember. Okay. Monday is a low day for carbs, so I eat 3 pounds of meat with half a pound of fish, so that's 3.5 pounds worth of protein. And then I only do 125 carbohydrates on my low carb day. My medium carb day, my protein comes down to 2 pounds of meat and half a pound of fish. So it's 2.5 pounds of meat instead of 3.5 pounds. So I drop the protein down by a pound. and then I increase the carbohydrates up to 300. And this levels my calories out day to day. So my calories only vary about maybe 200 calories from a low day to a medium day. So even though my carbohydrates and my proteins are going back and forth, they're moving up and down, my calories are pretty much right where they're supposed to be. Give and take, a piece of fish might have a little bit more fat than the last one, or a piece of red meat might have a little bit more fat than the last one. It's kind of hard to micromanage the gramming on that, so I don't stress about it. But what I try to do is, on my low carb days, 3.5 pounds of protein. On my medium carb days, I do 2.5 pounds of protein, and then on my high carb day, I do 1 pound of protein, and that's it. And I do Monday is a low, Tuesday is a medium, Wednesday is a low, Thursday is a medium, Friday, Saturday are lows, Sundays are high. Is what I'm doing on my carb cycling. And I've been doing this all of January, but I've been tweaking it. So what I actually did in the beginning of January, I had to build my appetite back up because I lost my appetite. And I was only eating twice a day, and I was keeping my calories kind of lower. So I had to build my calories back up to where they are now with the food volume that I eat. And then once I got that where it's supposed to be, which was pretty much last week, kind of last week into this week, I was able to adjust my protein and rice to what it is now. And I've gone from 235 pretty much in the mornings to 229 as of this morning. So in the last first week of February, so the last 5 weeks roughly, I've come back down from 235 to 229, so 6 pounds. And that's the last weigh-in of the week. That's Sunday when I'm at my lowest. So tomorrow when I wake up and weigh in from all the carbs, I'll probably be close to 240 from all the carbs, all the water, all the juice and everything. But come next Sunday, my weight's more than likely going to be down again. Hopefully a pound, half a pound, no more than 2 pounds. Hopefully no more, because if I go 2 pounds, I'm losing too much too fast, and I'm going to end up getting stringy and losing all my muscle mass and looking all withered away. And I'm trying to avoid that, so I'm trying to take it slow. Like it's a fine line, because it's like I want to lose it fast enough to not lose motivation, but then I don't want to lose too fast and then end up being counterproductive and losing too much muscle tissue. So that's what I'm doing with my diet currently right now. I don't know if that was a lot to digest, but if it is, just rewind it, put it on slow, the speed, and then we'll talk a little bit slower in the video. But it's working. It's working for me, and I like it, because I'll let you start here in a second. What I like about it is the days I'm really hungry, I know it's only for a day. And then the next day, I got to get a lot of carbs, not hungry. And the next day, it's only for a day. I could deal with it. But it's Friday, Saturday, it's 2 days in a row. But 2 days, I can handle anything for 2 days. So it's not bad. And I'm losing weight over the course. I'm not having to be hungry every single day. Dieting's not hard. Being hungry is hard. And if you don't have to do it for 7 days a week, you can do it in increments of a day here and a day there. It's a lot more manageable.
For myself, I decided to try the carb cycle. I've never actually attempted it, so I decided to try it. And I'm not doing exactly the same as what he's doing because of his amounts. So for me, I need to push myself, I guess, a little bit to increase the amounts a little bit quicker. But I've always had an issue, especially with doing the protein, of it doesn't take a lot for me to get full and go okay, I'm still doing good right now. I don't really need to go much beyond that. So even right now, I've just been doing 2 pounds of meat, and then the carbs, the rice, is just increased or decreased. So I started out with 12. I worked up to 14 on the high day, but the low day is still the same. It's still 8 ounces, and still on the low days, because I'm still I'm doing the 2 pounds on both days. The meat itself is what kind of sustains me. And I have trouble eating sometimes just because of the protein, eating the protein itself. So that's why you kind of moved up progressively, pretty quickly. Me, I've started with 12, and over the course of 4 weeks now, I've only gone up 2 ounces on the high day, and I just left the low day, like I said, at the spot, because I don't. I have issues increasing it.
Yeah, well, 2 pounds of meat is plenty as well. You're talking 200 grams of protein, and like I said, it's especially if you're in a deficit, you're not going to lose muscle mass eating 200 grams. You can. I've proven it many times before. You can over cardio and you can do way too much, right? And you could burn your muscle mass up really quick by doing too much cardio. Like you can get stringy. But in the grand scheme of things, like it's hard to say 2 pounds of meat's not enough meat. So even though you're full and it's difficult for you, eventually you'll start getting hungry from it. And that's what I had to do. I had to increase it until I started getting hungry, and then I get increased. And some days were harder than others, and sometimes you're going to have to force yourself to eat more, whether you want to or not. That extra hunger isn't going to come, and you're just going to have to get it down and do it regardless of how sucky it is, because those medium days can be a little rough. High days are brutal trying to eat that much food when you're not hungry for it, especially when you're not hungry for it, right? Even if the food's good, I don't care what's your favorite food. You eat enough of it and you're full, you're not going to want to keep eating it. If someone says, oh no, you got to eat 4 more servings, like, I don't want to eat anymore. It's like, you got to. So there might come a point where you might need to force yourself on at least a day to get it up higher, because it's going to, and I know it's bro science, it doesn't work that way, but from everything I've ever experienced and people I've helped with, like it picks your metabolism up. Like it does. Like if you have a high day, if you only do mediums and lows right now, and you don't have a specific high day where you like double your carbs from your medium days, then what happens is, like, when you do that, it picks your metabolism up. Then the next day when you have a low day, oh, you're starving and you feel it. It's like, it's not like, oh, well, I'm still full from yesterday. It's like, no, it's like, man, I didn't want to eat that yesterday. I forced myself to eat it. And now that I ate it and I'm on low today, I am hungry, way more hungry than I was the week before last, whenever I was doing this and I thought I was full. And it's going to pick your hunger up and make it kind of easier on some days and harder on others. It's just, that's the nature of the beast when it comes to it. Sometimes you're just going to have to, like, get it down and do it regardless of how you feel about it emotionally, and just go back into fat boy mode and shovel it down.
For me, like last year, because doing what I'm doing right now is still more than what I was doing last year for sure. Because last year I was only doing a pound of meat with some rice per day.
Yeah, that's
so
a good thing.
Yeah, doing the 2 pounds was like a big increase for me, and that's, I think, where like some of my struggle, like I'm saying, is coming from, is just getting used to doing the amount of meat or whatever. Like the meat is the harder part for me to get down in that quantity or whatever, especially when it's just like the ground meat by itself. So once, like, I just have to set, like, basically what you did, like set a schedule for it and go like, okay, no matter what, like on this day, I'm going to increase it or whatever. And then I'm trying to get as much down as I can. If I succeed, great. If I fall a little short, okay, next time, try again.
Try not to tap the table because the mics pick it up real hard. But go ahead.
Yeah, so try it again, see how it goes, and just keep working from there until I can get to the point where the calories are going to be up high enough to keep me sustained for what we're doing. But as of right now, like, my weight has still come down some from where I started at, because I was like mid 270s, whatever. Right now I float. At the end of the week, I'm floating around like 260, 261. So I'm still down like 15 pounds, but I'm
from the beginning of January.
Yeah. So I'm like floating right there, but I think that's more due to like the training that we're doing at the moment is helping me stay in that area.
Yeah, that nice little pocket right there. Yeah, and then getting plateaus are pretty hard. Like it's funny because like all week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like I woke up every day and 233, 233, 233, 233, and then I wake up Saturday, I'm like, cool, 231. Then I wake up today, cool, 229, awesome. But again, 2 low days in a row really depletes you and your glucose and your sugars and your blood volume, your muscle volume, all that. It just, you flatten out, you go flat and deflated. But that's the thing, if I can consecutively come in lighter every Sunday, I mean, it doesn't matter, it's just a bunch of water weight. Well, yeah, it is water weight, but I consecutively and consistently have come in lighter and lighter from that water weight every single week. It's not going to be water weight every single week going down. From next week, if I come in, I'm 228, and then I'm 227, I'm 226, and I'm 225. That's not water weight, right? I mean, I do fluctuate water a lot by doing this, but magically enough, it almost seems like that shouldn't be like that, right? It's like, you're going to have a day where you eat 700 carbohydrates. Yeah, from rice and juice and sugary cranberry juice. I like cranberry juice because it has the iodine, and cranberry is good for your urinary tract system. Now, it's not pure cranberry juice. It's a simple like the simple cranberry cocktail, so there's a lot of sugar in it, but I need the carbs. So and it's sweet and I like it because it goes good with my food. So it's one of those things that like it's like it almost seems like doing a whole jug of juice, like a whole jug with that much rice, and then with additional food, because I do 4 of those meals a day. Like I split the rice and the meat into 4 meals with the juice from 9, noon, 3, and 6, and then for dinner I've hit 600 carbs and I've hit my 100 grams of protein from my meat plus whatever I get from my rice. And then we're going to barbecue. So it's like, oh, what are you doing for dinner? Oh, I'm doing chicken thighs, I'm doing chicken breast, and I'm doing drumsticks with vegetables and corn. So there's going to be more vegetables and there's going to be more protein. So it's not just like, oh, it's only 8 pounds. So my cheat meal at the end of the day, so that's what I have to eat for my carb cycling. I have to hit 600 with at least a pound of meat. And then I get a cheat meal on Sunday. And my cheat meal is at the end of a high carb day because it's the day I'm not hungry. So I'm not going to overdo it on the cheat meal. So if I'm like, oh, I'm going to have a low day on Saturday, eat 125 carbohydrates, and I'm hungry in the evening, then I'm going to have a cheat meal. Well, I'm going to be inclined to have a cheat meal. But if I do it on the end of a Sunday, on my high carb day, when I'm absolutely full, like when I go to eat, I'm not going to eat much if I eat at all. And if I do eat, I'm picking better choices because at this point, I'm like, I want Taco Bell? Nah, that sounds good. I want pizza? Nah, no, I don't want to bloat that bad. Oh, do you want a burger? Nah, not really. Not really. So none of those foods sound good to me. So at the end of the day, it's like, well, what do you want to eat? Well, if none of it sounds good, there's no point in eating it. So let's just do something a little bit different. Let's grill up some chicken because I eat beef during the week, right? I eat nothing but red meat during the week. So now it's like, let me do some beef, or let me do some chicken on the grill, throw some barbecue sauce, some soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce on it, whatever. Give it a different flavor with some sugar on there because I'm still trying to get to 700 carbs. And let me do some vegetables with it. Maybe some potatoes, maybe, but carrots and corn and stuff like that is where my carbs are going to come from. So it's just like, I feel like I'm getting a cheat meal. I feel like I'm eating a cheat meal, but I'm not. So that's why I like to do that at the end of the day on the Sundays and stuff like that. And it feels like I said, like, you shouldn't be losing weight from this. Like, you gorge yourself and eat all this food, and then at the end of the week, you're down. Mm-hmm. It's like, but I wasn't hungry all week. I was only hungry 4 days of the other week. 2 of the days I was full, and then the last day I was way full. So how am I losing weight whenever I could do this diet and be hungry all the freaking time, nonstop? But I'm barely losing the same amount of weight that I'm losing doing this. Calculated starving, all right? If the total calories at the end of the week add up, doesn't matter if you do it throughout the week or in partial, and you do it in stages and stuff like that. So that's why I'm enjoying the carb cycling and stuff like that. And it's just fun getting it, and it's different every day. So it's not the same thing. I mean, it is the same thing, but it's not. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
I understand what you're saying. So as I said, for me, I gotta continue pushing myself. That's my biggest thing. Like, I'm honestly my worst enemy when it comes to things like that. Before I got too focused on just wanting to drop the weight because I didn't have a goal exactly like we talked about before, but I knew I didn't want to weigh as much. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those things of not focusing so much on just not weighing so much, but even though like the aesthetics of it isn't exactly my goal, like having a perfect body kind of look kind of thing, mm-hmm. The better I do look, the better I have myself look or whatever, the more muscle tone I carry and things like that, that easier things like eating and stuff like that are going to be for me because it's just part of it.
Yep. So, yeah, and that's the thing too, like the days you're hungry, you restrict yourself so you don't go outside your diet. The days you get to eat more, so when you have your cheat meal. Like I said, on Sundays I do my cheat meal, and that's whenever I eat the most amount of food. So at the end of the day, I don't care to have a cheat meal. That's like, oh, well, aren't you missing out on all these foods? Honestly, no, I'm not. I don't even crave during the week because, like, yeah, I'm hungry Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. I'm hungry-ish. I'm not starving, but I am hungry. But at the end of the day, I eat salmon. And, oh, man, let me get into this for a minute. So I started eating salmon the beginning of, probably the end of December, right? End of December, roughly. I started eating salmon about once a week. And then come January, I started eating it regularly every week. And it's funny how, like, you start doing something, then all of a sudden you start seeing it everywhere. And it's just kind of like, man, I never did this, but now I'm doing it. Now it's, like, everywhere. Did I just not pay attention? Or is it just the universe's way of telling me, like, I might be onto something here? So, as I'm doing this, like a bunch of omega fatty acid stuff started coming up and popping up and being thrown in my face, and people talking about like, oh, you could get your omega fatty acid levels checked. You could do a test on Amazon and test your omega fatty acid levels and see if you're deficient. If you are, you need to get them up. You can either supplement through pills, or you can either eat fatty fish like sardines or salmon. I prefer salmon over sardines, and less salty, and it's just easier to eat. So, but the health benefits of having properly balanced omega 3, 6, and 9s, and it's good for your heart, cardiovascular. It's good for erectile issues. It can help those out because it helps the cardiovascular system. It helps your skin, your hair, your thinking ability. There's your joints too. Oh my God, it helps your joints tremendously. If you're low on it, and your body's low and you get your omega levels up, your joints feel lubricated. It feels like they're sliding instead of grinding and sticking. It makes a big difference in the joints. And I kind of started noticing like things were different on me, but I couldn't really pinpoint, oh, well, I'm just back into it. I'm stretching. I'm doing this, that, and the other. Then all this stuff about fish started popping up. I was like, man, did you hear me talking about, oh, I need to go buy my fish. Oh, I need to go get salmon. Let me, and then, your phone listens to you all the time. So it's just like, oh, fish, oils, fish. All right. So of course, me being the curious cat that I am, I started clicking and reading, which I already knew a lot of all of this, but like it's funny how you forget things the less you have to do with them, right? So it's just like with powerlifting, right? The further away you get, the more you forget. And then when you come back to it, it's just like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, right? Same thing for working on cars or doing anything in your life. Anything that you playing video games, right? Let's talk about Resident Evil 2. Right now, you probably don't think nothing of it, but you started playing it again, you'll probably start remembering all the little things you have to do and the whatnots and this, that, and the other, Minecraft and all that stuff. So anyway, so I started reading on it and all the health benefits, and then I do notice my joints feel a lot better since I've been eating it, and other parts of my life have improved from it too, like not feeling so winded. Like I feel like my cardiovascular is better. Like I do feel like, because it's not something that's going to fix in like a week. Oh, I ate fish once, my levels are optimal. It takes about 2 to 3 months. So it's been close to about 7 weeks, 8 weeks I've been eating fish, and I was eating it once a week, but now I eat it 6 nights a week. And I noticed a big difference like in my endurance too. Like I feel like I can work longer, I can work out longer, I feel like I can move around more. I don't get winded as I'm gasping for air during this because I have so much food. I'm hungry. Hold on, give me a second. I'm so fat. I ate so much food I can barely breathe. But generally speaking, when I'm not loaded up on carbs, like I feel like I have more endurance overall without really doing anything to increase my endurance. It made a huge difference, man. And being 38 years old, like little things that didn't matter back then, now it seems that they make such a much bigger impact on little things you took for granted. Like, oh, my knee's not clicking no more. Man, my finger doesn't hurt when I bend it, Like, oh, cool. I walked from here to there and up the stairs, and I noticed I wasn't like breathing heavy. It's like little stupid things like that. But anyways, yeah, so if you're not getting your omegas, you should really look into it, man, because it can make a big difference in not just your performance in the gym, but your overall like life, man. It can make a huge difference. I know for me, like I feel a lot better. The only downside is getting the salmon down every day. Like I don't care how much you love fish, you eat enough of it, eventually it's just like, oh man, that is super fishy tonight. So what I do is I eat celery with it, because celery overpowers everything. I don't think there's another food out there. If there is, please let me know. But celery is a one food that you can eat with no matter what it is you're eating, and it will take over the flavor of everything. So I take a bite of the fish, and when it starts getting too fishy, I just start eating celery. And then it's just like, oh, cool, crunchy celery. Fish, celery, and I don't taste the fish no more. I get it down. Only downside, there's a lot of fiber. So the next morning, got a little bubbly in the morning. It's ain't gonna lie. It's a little hot boxing going on the way to work, but it's worth it if it helps me get my fish down. I want to eat it. Plus, I like celery, so it's a win for me. Right? A lot of people, it's definitely a selective taste, like cilantro. Some people think cilantro tastes like soap. Some people it's amazing. It's the most delicious.
It's delicious.
Yeah, I love the way it tastes too. And then celery is kind of the same thing for people as well, though. It's either you love it or you hate it. I don't think there's people out there like, yeah, it's okay. I like to go for celery every once in a while. And it's either like, nah, I don't touch that stuff, or like, oh yeah, I like celery. Yeah, at least my experience with people,
It's all the fibers in it. It's like hair getting stuck in your teeth.
Yeah. I like chewing on hair though, so when I used to have long hair, I used to have these locks that come all the way down to my hips, and No, I've never had hair like that. I don't get the hair texture though. It doesn't seem like a hair texture to me, but
I
like
watch you eat it or
fibers.
whatever, and like you pop it off, and you can just see the strands just sticking up. I'm like, yep, not my thing.
Yeah, but I don't feel that in my mouth when I'm chewing on it and stuff like that. Of course, I got a mouthful of fish, and that, so it's masked as well too. But
Yeah.
as long as it's not the flavor of the fish, I'm good. And I like fish, but it's one of those things I have to be in the mood to eat. Like my favorite fish, fried catfish. I'm a Southern boy. Grew up on the bayous. Fried catfish. There's no better fish out there than a fried catfish. Love fried catfish with hush puppies. Oh, some coleslaw, man. Don't get me started. That's some good eating right there. But it's not the best if you're on a diet trying to be healthy.
Yeah, air fried catfish.
It's not the same, man. You got to batter it. You need the grease. You got to use the airless fryer. Yeah, the airless fryer is the way to go for catfish. If you're using that, it's not going to come out the same. You got to go with the airless fryer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's what we're doing. We're just going to really kind of want to just honestly post a video because it's been a while, and then I just kind of want to talk about what we're doing and where we're at in our progress. And this year, man, I've been pretty on point, man. I mean, I've been like hard at it. I haven't really been, giving any room for excuses or errors, and I'm really happy about so far the way the year's going, and it's just looking up for me, and I'm really excited about where I'm going to be at the end of this year. And we're going to get into our training program, our next episode, and a lot has changed on that too. A lot has changed. We've done the high intensity. We've done a lot of stuff, and me and Richard sat down together and we talked a lot about routines and programs and training styles and philosophies and mentalities and structures and all these different books. And we really dove deep into it and took all the principles of like Joe Weider, Mike Menzer, Jay Cutler, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and all the Mike Isertate, Jeff Napar. Like we took everything into consideration from powerlifting to bodybuilding and all the and we sat down and we kind of came to a conclusion about something about them, and we built a program off of our findings of what everything else is being said up to everybody else in fragments. So we'll go over that in our next one because that's going to be a pretty lengthy podcast too. So we'll get into that. That's pretty much all I got for this one, man. Is there anything else you want to add?
I'm good for tonight.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys are entertained if y'all made it this long, and we will see you in the next one.